Hey everybody, this is Demari. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And today I'm doing the Shadow Work Tarot reading for the sign of Scorpio. Just to let you know, I will be using the Dark Mirror Oracle deck, and that's to really pull some relevant messages that your shadow aspect is trying to reveal to you at this time, particularly with the event of the full moon in Pisces over the weekend. There's going to be some things that were brought to the surface over this time, so it's a really good way to just get further clarity on what the situation is and what needs addressing. Of course, I'll be using the Wild Unknown Tarot to then get further messages so you can get a bit more information, and then we'll use the intuitive to clarify where needed. So I'm just going to get stuck in and see what we can find out for you then. So what do you have going on right now, Scorpio? Okay. So you have the artificial heart. Now this is in relation, I mean, as you can see, she's a cyborg looking creature, or an android rather, okay? And the message behind this is that lately you may have moved from a genuine space of love and affection and nurturing into something that feels a little bit more artificial, I guess. Something where it's not that, connection is not being sought after, but there is just something empty within that connection, okay? That there's some lack, there's something missing, it's something almost kind of surface level, right? So it may be that you're driven by desire rather than love at this time. That you may be pleasure chasing as opposed to finding soul connection. And I think that's because of the changes you've been through in this time, particularly when it comes to relationships. It's made it very hard to open up in that way again. So you're operating from this place of desire rather than actual love. And it's not to say that you are not connecting with people or that your affections are not genuine. It's just coming from a very different place. It's more primal and lustful than love, okay? That's what is being communicated here. Or that maybe, if that's not the case for you, that because you've had a broken heart, you find it very hard to reach someone in that way. And you have a longing for that, but your heart is not capable of extending that love right now because you've been through so much pain. It's just numb to the feeling. So even though you're longing to bridge that connection, you're just not in a position where you can do that because there's way too much healing that needs to take place. So just take it as it resonates. It's going to be different for different people. If it doesn't resonate, that's fine. Maybe this next message will, because there's always more than one thing going on anyway, right? So let's see what else is happening for you in the shadow aspect. Okay. So you have anger in chains. And that, as you can see, is quite a chaotic card. I really associate this card with chaos, right? It's like an absolute bursting release of emotion, raw emotion, anger, pain, frustration, rage, right? It's all coming to the surface in one fantastic, chaotic explosion. And that's what I feel like is happening right now. You're kind of having this inner roar that's starting to come out from deep within you, this huge release of emotion, where you're not standing back idly anymore. You're not just allowing life to happen to you anymore. This is your battle cry, I feel. And that's why also that you probably feel like you probably feel like your heart is iced over right now. Because of this huge release of emotion that's come out or is coming out. you've gone it can go either way. It can be that you've been feeling numb for a long time, that you feel unable to connect on that level, only on a surface level. But that's because this release is building up. This release that you needed is on the horizon, right? It's coming out now, because all of that pain, all of that emotion and suffering that you've been through has just been festering in the background, and soon enough it's just going to explode spectacularly, okay? Otherwise, the other way around, it can be that you've had this big release of emotion, it was very cathartic, but now you're just kind of feeling the numbing sensation of the aftermath, and you just have no idea where you're going to go from here, how to feel anymore, because you've just had this huge release. And you just have no idea how you can go about healing your heart and really feeling in tune, with the lighter aspects, with the light itself, because you're just so numb to everything right now. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing here. So let's see if we can get some more information about what's going on at this time for you. So let's have a look at this week that we've just been through. So what is happening for Scorpio? Or rather, what has been happening for you? Six of Cups in reverse. So you had this, I feel like for many of you, you've already had this outpour. You just had to unleash the chaos within you, because it was just overbearing, it was just overwhelming. You just couldn't do it anymore. You just couldn't contain all of the rage and the pain anymore. Okay, you also got the Five of Cups in reverse. So this is very much the energy you were sat at in the middle of the week. And you got the Ace of Cups in reverse of the weekend. So I think this week has been very cathartic for you, particularly with this run up to the full moon over the weekend. I think you were starting to have this chaotic release at the start of the week. In the middle of the week, you may have had some communication with someone who didn't respond in the way you had hoped, and it upset you, okay? They weren't necessarily seeing it from your side, or they weren't understanding where this response came from, right? Or this need to just detach, right? Because it could be that you've already had the explosion, or that happened over the weekend, or that you were very detached at this time, and when you were communicating with someone about everything that's been going on, they couldn't understand why you were being the way you were, and you felt like no matter how you tried to put it, they were not understanding how you were feeling, okay? So this weekend was kind of like the final straw. You got to this point where you just couldn't deal with it anymore. You just had this fantastic explosion of emotion, right? Where it just came pouring out. You just couldn't do it anymore. And you were just so tired from not being understood or having your feelings understood that you just raged out, essentially. Okay, so let's have a look for early next week then. What have you got coming up in the next day or two? Two of Swords. So you're going to have to make a decision in regards to something. We'll have a look in a moment. Probably which way to go from here. What do you got next? Father of Swords, King of Swords, and that's midweek next week. So I feel like that's very much in relation to a person. It could, because that's King of Swords energy, so that could be very well an air sign, potentially. We'll have a look, just keep going. And for the end of the week, you have the Fool in reverse. Okay. So with the next couple of days, the Two of Swords, I feel like you've had this release, but you have to kind of really consider what are your options. Well, where do you go from this point, right? Because it's one thing to finally let go of all the things that have hurt you and have this release and, be in a place where you can better start to examine exactly what it is that you feel or want. But you have to really consider the other factors in your life as well. What is it that you're trying to marry up that's not quite working in sync together right now? What parts of your life is out of order, right? Because I feel like it's not that your whole life is this chaotic mess that you're feeling. I feel like it's just very specific aspects. Could be your finances, could be your work, could be family, could be relationships. It's going to be different for different people. But there's just some aspects of your life, one or two, that are just really quite, they're either toxic or they're just chaotic right now. And it's not serving you by any means. It's putting you in a place where, you know, that frustration and resentment has been growing slowly, which led to this particular display of emotion, right? So you're really having to weigh up what it is that you're trying to leave behind and step towards, right? So then you have like the Father of Swords, as I said, in the middle of the week. So I feel like this is very much relevant to a person. As I said, it could be a family member, it could be literally a father, or it could be someone that's in a kind of authoritative role. So maybe a guardian. Oh gosh, come on, brain. Right, so you could be a guardian, or it could be a partner that you felt was kind of domineering or had exercised a lot of control over you in your relationship. And you're having to decide where to go from here, whether you can work on things or if you have to leave them in the past. Or if it's if this is representing someone you work with, say like a boss or something who's very domineering and toxic, you have to assess whether or not you continue working where you work, or if you have to maybe report his behaviour if he's being unprofessional in any way or toxic in any way, because you're on very unequal ground right now. Okay, everything feels very shaky beneath your feet. The foundations are not there. Okay, but the reason why everything's kind of been kicked up and whirled into like a chaotic storm is to show you that the foundations that you thought you built so sturdy upon are weak as hell, right? That they're not strong, that they're actually are crumbling beneath your feet. It's being brought to your awareness so that you can change it, so that you can build new foundations that are built sturdily, that are built to last, right? With the right materials, okay? So it's important to know that. And then with the Fool in reverse, I feel like you're just not ready to take a big step towards anything at this point, because you're still assessing, you're still processing. I wouldn't even say you're healing at this stage, if I'm totally honest with you. I feel like you're still coming to terms with some things. I feel like this energy that you've been in, or you are in right now, this artificial heart, is like, it's like a painkiller for you right now. You know, it's a means of switching off your feelings so you don't have to deal with the pain or worry about healing. You just numb yourself to the circumstances and hope that, eventually it will be over. But it doesn't work like that. And actually all you end up doing is self-destructing by staying in that energy, right? Because it's not going to go away. You still have to deal with it. You still have to process it. So I feel like you're kind of just numbing yourself to the pain right now. And that's stopping you from moving forward and starting afresh within this circumstance, okay? Because until you kind of come out of that energy and go deep into the shadow work and do the healing, there's no way you can move forward, okay? So it's really important that you know that, Scorpio, if this applies to you. Okay, so let's have a look at the final week. Oh gosh, all right, what have we got here? Of course. Oh, sorry, everything's just flying everywhere right now. Okay, so you have the Two of Cups in reverse, which is not surprising, so that could easily be a relationship. You've got the High Priestess. I feel like this is you. And finally, In the end of the week, Three of Wands. It keeps coming up at the moment, which is good. I like the fact that people are trying to manifest some positive changes. So let's go in. So final week of September, beginning, you've got the Two of Cups in reverse. So I feel like you are going to be walking away from a connection. It could be a partner, it could be a family member or a friend. I feel like it's someone on that level. It's not, I don't feel like it's a co-worker or someone you just kind of have an acquaintance with. There is some deep connection there, or someone you were in love with in some capacity, like a partner or a family member, or like a best friend, right? So someone you had a very strong connection with. I feel like you are walking away from the circumstance. Going into the middle of the week with the High Priestess, you are really tapping into your intuition. You're allowing your intuition to guide you at this time, to stop you from potentially making decisions that aren't going to be in your best interest. So you're really calling upon your own inner wisdom and knowing at this time to help you move forward. And then at the end of the week, so particularly around the weekend, you're really going to step into this space of, I'm going to get my life together, right? I've got all of these things going on that require my attention. I've got a lot of positive things happening in my life, so I want to manifest more of that, right? Rather than focus on the negative. So that's what I feel like you're going to be stepping into at the end of the month, right? That renewed sense of wanting to make the best of your life and, attract more of the abundance that you already have. Okay, so let's just clarify then for you the Six of Cups in reverse. Okay, so it's the King of Pentacles in reverse. King of Pentacles signifies, it's very much linked to an earth sign. So it could be an earth sign that you're dealing with, potentially not. Just take it as it applies. This is basically someone who is feeling as though they are not on their best form, they're not on their best game, that they've potentially lost way more than they bargained for, okay? So with this energy, I feel like you communicated something, or you had this release of emotion, and it basically blew someone away. It made someone realize that things were not going to progress in the way they thought, and it made them feel like you were gone. You were gone from their lives, okay? So it may be that you communicated that you no longer wanted to be with this person, or you no longer wanted to be in contact with this person, or that your focus was no longer this situation or them, but on yourself, or whatever it is. But something was communicated that really took them aback and made them feel not as powerful as they did previously, okay? Let's see if we can get anything else. Yeah, Eight of Cups. They were a bit distraught by this, actually. It probably felt like to them they lost you twice, because maybe they were hoping that when you had this communication there'd be some kind of reconciliation, but I feel like instead it just blew up, and all your rage that you've been containing came flooding to the surface, and they weren't ready for that. They'd probably never seen that side to you, and it caused a lot of pain for them behind the scenes. They may not have shown it in front of you, but yeah, they were really quite upset moving away from it. But you just couldn't contain it anymore. You'd just been suppressing your feelings for so long that it just exploded. Okay, so let's have a look then in regards to the Five of Cups in reverse. So this was the middle of the week that we just had. Right. So you have the the Knight of Pentacles in the upright and the Nine of Cups. So you told them that this was no longer, like, you were done with the circumstance, that you're going after the things that actually bring you abundance, joy, makes you feel stable and in control of your life and powerful, right? That you feel enriched by, okay? So you communicated that was your reasoning for it, and that, there was nothing more important than your own, going after your own sense of fulfillment and not trying to find it through the eyes of another, right? That you were going to go and define what that meant for yourself. Maybe for the first time ever, right? That you were so done with living by someone else's idea of perfection that you wanted to go out and discover it for yourself, right? And maybe they didn't like that for whatever reason. Okay, so what about the Ace of Cups? So what you're sitting in currently this weekend? Okay, King of Cups in the upright. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for your King of Cups. You're not looking for the King of Pentacles in reverse. You're looking for the King of Cups in the upright. Someone who is absolutely emotionally grounded, that knows how to communicate their feelings, that knows when to be vulnerable, when to be strong, that isn't afraid to show how they truly feel. That's going to give you that emotional support, and know when you need to stand on your own 2 feet, right? And just give you that loving, nurturing, unconditional love that you're looking for, right? This is what you want. And you just basically communicated that this isn't it. This is not what that is. That's what I'm looking for, and I haven't found that, so I'm walking from this situation. Okay? Yeah, and you got the Six of Swords in reverse, so I think that you're done. You're just done waiting, I think. I think you've been waiting, playing the waiting game for so long, and you're just tired. Like, you're tired of waiting to see if things will move forward. You know that you have to initiate them because it's just been going on for so long and there's no resolution, right? Okay, so let's have a look at the Two of Swords in the upright end. So this is going into tomorrow and Tuesday. Okay, so you have the Fool in reverse. So you're having to make a decision of whether to, take your time and assess all the variables and, not act too hasty, with the Page of Wands underneath there. Like, don't do anything definitive at this point, but just kind of assess what it is that you want. And what's the other decision? Okay, or whether to go by your instincts here and trust that things will work out in your best interest, right? Not waiting for things to just happen, but taking action and hoping that they will work out fine, okay? Yeah, coming out of that space of just waiting to see if those variables clear themselves up, but rather than taking action and hoping for the best, being hopeful that everything will be fine in the end, okay? So this is the kind of debate that you'll be having with yourself early next week, okay? Which way to go. So let's clarify this Father of Swords then. Okay, so you got the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So I feel like, again, this is how you felt with this person, or at least when you're communicating with this person, this is how they make you feel. That you're not in control of your life, that you don't have sovereignty over your being. I think you feel very underpowered and undervalued by them, actually. It may be that they didn't see or didn't communicate how they truly felt about you for a long time, or maybe they did things and acted in ways that made you question how they view you and whether or not they respect you. And as such, it's, you know, that not knowing has made it very difficult to just close the door on it completely, because you feel like while they do, there is some desire to be with you and there's some care and consideration. That doesn't always translate in the way they're behaving or communicating with you, right? They can be very harsh in their communication, and that makes you feel undervalued, right? Because the way in which they communicate with you doesn't make you happy, right? So what about in terms of, again, don't worry too much about the genders. This is like, it's not about the genders. This is literally just energies we're discussing here, okay? So it doesn't matter, like, you know, what sex they are or gender. This is just the energy, okay? So what about the forward reverse thing? So going into the end of next week, the weekend. Okay. So you have the 10 of Cups. So yeah, this cycle is coming to an end, but you're not moving forward yet, because you're still assessing, you're still uncertain, you feel quite vulnerable in some ways. So yeah, let's just have a look at this. You have the Queen of Wands in the upright though. You have the Hermit in reverse and the Emperor, okay? So, I mean, you must know that you have the ability to move forward. The cycle is, you know that the cycle is coming to an end, that there's nowhere else you can go at this point, particularly when you've already made a decision. This is the energy that you're stepping towards. This is what you're seeking in your life. And this is where what you're coming out of at this stage, okay? So you're coming out of hiding and, you know, kind of shielding yourself and how you feel and, you know, where it is that you're going. You're kind of coming out of that mode of sealing yourself off and, you know, just kind of hoping that things will go away. You're coming out of that, you're taking steps forward, but you don't feel quite ready to completely close the door on this situation, because you feel like you don't have all the variables, or that you just don't feel emotionally ready to go full steam ahead in this new direction. But I think your mind is going to change by the end of the month, because you are kind of gravitating towards this energy. You're aligning with yourself in this way, you know, embodying this energy, and just being a little bit more, I think, in, you know, especially with this decision that you've made, you're going to be quite, I feel like you're going to be a little bit defensive, because people are going to question you as to why you've done this, or the person you're dealing with may question why you've chosen this path and why you've made this final decision. But you're going to stick to your guns. You're going to know exactly why you made that decision. You're going to communicate that clearly and concisely, and you're not going back on what you said, right? You made a clear decision, right? That's what I feel like here with the Emperor, like, because usually the Emperor, the energy there is someone who's very assertive, that in his mind doesn't make mistakes, you know, it was a choice, this is my decision, end of discussion, right? So it can be a little bit stubborn, but it's someone who's very self-assured, who's kind of generally well thought out, and is, you know, is not willing to bend, you know, on specific matters. And I feel like that's you on this subject, like you're not willing to bend on this, you're not flexible, it's not negotiable. I just need time, right? Because I want to get back here again, or I want to be here for the first time ever, okay? So that's why I'm not flexible on this. Like, there is no new beginning where I'm concerned. I need to find my own. But I can't do that yet while this communication is still going on, while it's not fully resolved, okay? So what about the Two of Cups then in the final week? Beginning of the final week of September. Everyone's getting the Magician. Wow, so a lot of manifestation going on, as I said. Tons of it going on. I keep getting the Magician and the Three of Wands, okay? And then you've got the Two of Pentacles as well. So you're going to look at your options. again in more detail in regards to this relationship. You are going to be manifesting a King of Cups situation or such a person in your life, maybe not immediately but sometime in the future. So you're really assessing what it is that you want from a relationship or from a family member connection, or in a best friend or whatever it is, right? So you're really thinking about that, because that is kind of what you're going to be manifesting in this time, partially a new connection, not necessarily a relationship, even if it's you're kind of feeling that pull, but you just want like a deeper connection with someone who can provide that emotional fulfillment, right? So that's partially what you're going to be manifesting. And kind of as well, like tackling this indecisiveness that you've been feeling, or you really want things to be clear. You want to have everything really sharp and crystal in your mind, right? But while there's these certain factors at play here, you can't really do that. So rather than trying to juggle everything and hope that it will make sense at some stage, you're going to just start cutting things out, so you're left with two very clear options, and then you can decide where to go from there, right? So what about the High Priestess? So you've got the Three of Pentacles in reverse, the Seven of Swords in reverse, and the King of Swords in the upright, which is interesting. So yeah, I mean, right now you've kind of not seeking counsel from others. You're going by your own intuition. You're no longer willing to buy into the deception of everything just being fine, and even though the communication is terrible, there's a patch for it, it doesn't work like that, so you're kind of dropping the lie and accepting things as they are. And I feel like you're coming in with a real new sense of clarity and discipline as well, self-discipline. I feel like with this card, like with it being on top of the high priestess, that's really a powerful combination, because the High Priestess is obviously very much concerned with intuition and feeling and emotional connection, like the shadow aspects, the moon, right? Dealing with the shadow and the moon. As you can see, there's a moon in the background, right? But having the knowledge and the wisdom to see clearly through that, right? Especially with that being coupled with this card here, which is all about logics and being logical and rational and clear-minded and very straight talking, no bullshit kind of energy, right? So put those two together and you've got a very powerful combination. Someone who is not taking any BS whatsoever. Okay. And then in the final part of the week, to clarify the Three of Wands, you've got the Ten of Swords in reverse, which is the absolute completion of this cycle in regards to the communication that's been going on between you, okay? That's coming to an end. Not that you'll never speak to each other again, but you're not willing to keep opening the same can of worms just to have the same arguments, right? You're kind of done with it, so you're looking to bring that to a close very soon. And you've got the Temperance in reverse, so you're no longer waiting for some signs to magically appear and clear everything up. You're just gonna take steps towards what it is you actually want and leave behind any communication, any little digs or anything that's going to be negative towards you. You're just going to walk away from it because you know what you want now. You know what you're looking for. Even though, like I said, you have been feeling very numb and out of sorts, you've not been in that loving, nurturing space that you usually are. And that's because of this huge outpour, this release, this rage out that you had. This has kind of left you in that space, afterwards. So you're just trying to, recover essentially from all that has happened and your response to that at this time. But generally, I would say this is moving in a very positive light, right? Like there's a lot of good things that you're stepping into in regards of how you conduct yourself, how you carry yourself, your personal growth, how you communicate, what you'll stand for, what you want to stand for, stepping into your power, not giving it away so easily, not allowing others to dictate or manipulate what it is that you should be doing, that you take control of your life, that you focus on the things that matter to you, and you just connect with those and the energies that are supporting you at this time so that you can really transform and step into that space of sovereignty, right? Because I feel like, you know, it's not that you're not a sovereign being, of course you are, everyone is, but you're not feeling it right now because you've had your power taken from you for a very long time. I feel like it wasn't just one individual that did this either. This is kind of more of a collective message for all the, particularly I see a lot of males in this reading, so it could be that you felt overpowered by certain key male figures in your life, and you're just taking back your power, right, with these two queens here. But like I said, don't get too hooked up on the gender thing. It's just the energy, okay, the masculine and the feminine energies. It could be any gender really, but yeah, you're basically just stepping into that space of, I'm taking my power back. I'm done giving it away so easily to people that mistreat it, you know, when I shouldn't even be giving it away at all. I should be maintaining that and building myself up so that I am operating from a much higher level, and that the things, these toxic cycles that I keep finding myself in, are no more. Okay, so I hope that was helpful for you, Scorpio. I know you've been through it. It's not been an easy time, but this is important. This is big, right? This is a huge step in the right direction. Even though in the beginning I kind of felt like you were holding back and stumbling and halting your progress in some ways, I do feel like you are actually coming a long way, that you are making a lot of progress, that you really are starting to see your worth, and that you do have power, right? That you do have a say over your life, that you know it is yours to control. You are the creator of your reality, right? This is why this card is so important for you at this time, because this is what it signifies. Yeah. And I feel like you're towards the end of the month, you're going to be stepping into that awareness much more. Okay, so I hope this was helpful for you. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Do subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, I will be doing another reading for you very soon. So take care for now.